Testing, testing, testing. Hello, MATH0092. Today we are going to cover the chapter summary and review. It starts on page 79 in your ebook. And in review, we'd like to look at standard notation. That's a regular writing of the numbers with each period, the ones, the hundreds, the thousands, the millions. So we have the ones, the thousands, the millions, and we're supposed to write expanded notation. So we're representing the same number in different formats, a different notation for this number. So here's the ones, the tens, the hundreds. Here's the 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Here's the 7 millions, 7 ones, 6 tens in the millions period. So we will write this as 6 10 millions plus 7 1 millions plus 500,000 plus 3 10,000 plus 1,000 plus, we're looking at the 900 plus 8 tens plus 4 ones. Be sure you know the difference between standard notation and expanded notation. Each represent the same number value, just in different formats, different methods of writing the number itself. So then this is an example of what you will see at my math lab. Trying to make it a little larger here for you. So this is a story problem. Tickets to the annual awards banquet for a club cost $37. Ticket sales for the banquet totaled $1,628. Estimate the number of people who attended the banquet by rounding the cost of the ticket to the nearest 10 and the total sales to the nearest 100. Okay, so the ticket price equals $37. And the total sales was equal to 1,628. We're supposed to estimate the number of people who attended the banquet by rounding the cost of the tickets to the nearest 10. So to the nearest 10, find that position, and then peek next door. If it's 5 or greater, I'm going to round up. So that's approximately $40. And estimate the total number of people who attended the banquet by rounding the sales to the nearest 100. find your 100 placeholder and then keep next door and round up if it's 5. Otherwise, zeros, we're going to round to 1600. Now, if we had $1,600 in total sales and each ticket is about $40, we can estimate before subtract the 0, bring down the 0, and 40. So there were about 40 people who bought tickets for the banquet. So approximately 40 people purchased tickets and attended the banquet. And then I just want to remind you, when you're using your calculator or Google Calc, when we're dividing, 58 goes into 1,978 on our calculator. $1,978 divided by 58 is 34 point something. Your remainder is your decimal point value. So we know that it goes, 58 goes into 1,978. 34 whole number times is going to be your remainder. Now to calculate that remainder, I'm going to take 34 times 58. I get 1,972, which should be relatively close to your dividend. So now I'm going to find the difference of the dividend with what I have, 34 times 58, and determine that there's 6 as a difference. So your whole number remainder is 6. And how do I check? Well, I take 34 times 58, which is 1972, plus your remainder of 6, 1978, which should be the dividend. So we can circle our answer. In the next example, we're evaluating a graph. The graph shows the average monthly rent for a one-bedroom apartment in several cities. How much higher is the average monthly rent in city E? Well, here's city E, and we're looking at the rent per month in dollars, compared to city E, C, and here's city C. So I'm going to pick up the comparison, city E minus city C. City E on my chart is 776. Find the difference compared to city C. City C is 762. And with your calculator, subtract 776. We're going to subtract 762, and we'll get 14. So city E has a monthly rate of $14 more than city C. And you might see something similar to this at my math lab. A certain city had a population of 2,131,351 in 1999. This was an increase of 300,514 from its population in 1990. Find the city's population in 1990. Well, I just made a little table and the year and the population for that year. And they told us that the city had a population of 2,131,351 in the year 1999. And this was an increase of 300,514 from the population in 1990. So we're not real sure about the population in 1990, but we have a reference. In 1999, the population was 2,131,351, which was an increase. That was more than the population in 1990. So we're going to subtract that increase of 300,514, and we'll get 1,830,837 as the population in 1990. Next, if you would turn to page 79 in your e-text, I'm going to go over the chapter summary and review problems, and I typically do that for each chapter. Now, as we get acquainted with this summary and review, you'll notice that there's kind of a center divider. We have a left column and we have a right column. The left column is an example worked out for you, very similar to the practice exercise that we're going to work together. So there is always another example yet of the example that we work in class to an example that's done by the author step by step. So our first practice question is, what does the digit 2 mean in the number 432,079? So our number is given to us as 432,079. And we're supposed to find the digit 2 and what does it mean? So we're asking what is its placeholder significance? So here's our ones, tens, hundreds, here's our thousands, and it's in the ones category of the thousands. The ones, the tens, so it's in the 2,000 category. For placeholder significance. Number 2, add 36,047 plus 29,255. So we're going to add 36,047 plus 29,255. And this can be on your calculator or Google Calc. 36,047 plus 29,255. And we get 65,300. Number 3, on page 79 in your ebook, we're working on the chapter summary and review for chapter 1. Subtract 4,805, and we're going to subtract from it 1,500. 4,805, and we're going to subtract 1,500. With your calculator or Google Calc, 4,805, and subtract from it 1,568, and we get 3,237. Well, we can check this. 1,568 plus 3,237. We'll get 15, carry the 1, that's 7. That 3 is 10, carry the 1. 6 and 2 is 8. And 3 and 1 is 4. 4,805, 4,805, so we can circle our answer. Number 4, we're going to multiply 329 times 684. 329 times 684. And with our calculator, 329 times 684, 225,036. Next, we're asked to divide 8,519 by 27. 8,519, and we're asked to divide by 27. So with my calculator, 8,519 divided by 27 is 315 plus a remainder. I'm going to calculate that remainder by taking 315 times 27. I should get pretty close to my dividend, 8,505. I want to find the remainder from the dividend, so I'll take 8,519 and subtract what I have. My whole number is 315 times the divisor 27. I get 8,505. I'm going to subtract, and I get 14, a remainder of 14. And then we can check. I know that 315 times 27 is 80505 plus my remainder of 14, and that's 9158, 8,519. That checks, so I can circle my answer. On page 80, we're asked to round 26,468 to the nearest thousand. Round to the nearest thousand. So the first thing we want to do is find the thousands placeholder, and then we need help. We peek next door. So rounding to the nearest thousand, we have 36. This is not 5 or greater, so we're still with trailing zeros. Next, we're asked to use our relational operator, less than or greater than, to fill in the tick box. We're going to compare 78 and 81. And on the number line, 0, 1, there's 81 and 78. 78 is to the left. 78 is to the left of 81. 78 is less than 81. Fill in the text box with your less than symbol. We're asked to solve 24 times x equals 864. So now we have an equation, 24 times x equals 864. And we're asked to solve, not much for directions, but we're going to be solving for the variable. In this case, our goal then is x equals something. So our goal is x equals. So we need to isolate x on one side of the equal sign by itself. Now this is 24 times x, so it's wrapped up in multiplication, so we're going to use the multiplication principle. And we're going to, since it's multiplication, we'll divide by 24. But if we divide by 24 on this side, we'll divide by 24 on that side. And we do that to find another name for 1. And 24 over 24 is another name for 1. And 1 times x is x equals, which is pretty close to my goal. Now I just need to tidy up the other side of the equation. 864 divided by 24 is 36. And then we'll check. We have 24 times x equals 864. I'm going to substitute for every occurrence of x. My answer is 36. 24 times 36 is 864. That equals 864, so I can circle my answer. And number 9, we're supposed to evaluate 6 raised to the third power. 6 raised to the third power. Remember, we have a base to a power. It means in exponents, a base times itself. How many times? A base times itself 3 times. Well, 6 times 6 is 36 times 6. And I'll use my calculator. 36 times 6 is 216. So 6 cubed equals 216. Or on your calculator, remember we have the base raised to them. We're going to use the caret symbol, the up arrow symbol, raised to the third power is 216. 6 raised to the third power is 216. So we can circle our answer. Continuing then on page 81, number 10. We're supposed to add 7,304 plus 6,948. Use your calculator or Google Calc. 7,304 plus 6,948 is equal to 14,352. Equal to 14,252. Oh. 1,304 plus 6,948. I better add 7,304 plus 6,940. And we get 14,252. Number 14 on page 81. We're supposed to subtract 8,045, and we're going to subtract 2,897. Calculator, 8,045 subtract 2,897, and we get 5,148. Number 20 on page 81. 726 times 698. What's your calculator? 726 times 698 is 506,748. Number 26 on page 81. 3073 divided by 8. We're going to use our calculators. $3,073 divided by 8. We get 384 point something. So our whole number is 384. I'm going to check that. 384 times my divisor 8. The whole number portion, 384 times 8, would be 3072. I'm going to find the difference between the dividend and what I have so far. My whole number, 384 times 8. So 3073 subtract 3072, and I get 1 as a remainder. We can check. 384 times 8 is 3072 plus my remainder of 1. I get 3073, which should be the dividend. I can then circle my answer. Number 38. Estimate each sum, difference, or product by first rounding to the nearest hundred. So number 38, we're asked to add 41,348 plus 19,749. We're supposed to round to the nearest hundred. So find your hundreds and keep next door. If it's 5 or greater, round up. Otherwise, we fill with trailing zeros. And we're rounding to the hundreds so that 4 is less than 5, so we'll fill with zeros. 41,300. And rounding to the hundreds, we keep next door. It too is less than 5. We'll have 19,700 and fill with zeros. And now we can add 41,300 plus 19,700, and we'll get 61,000. So rounding, our answer is approximately 61,000. Number 41. Number 41, we're supposed to solve. 46 times n equals 368. Well, our directions are to solve, so that means I want to be able to set a goal of n equals. In this case, my variable is n. I want to isolate the variable. I have 46 times n equals 368. So if I see that it's all multiplication. So if I divide this side of the equation by 46, I'll have to divide this side of the equation by 46. When I do one side of the equation, I have to do completely to the other side. And I'm doing that because 46 over 46 is another name for 1. And 1 times n is n equals. So I'm getting pretty close to my goal. Now I'll have to tidy up the other side of the equation. 368 divided by 46 is 8. So n is equal to 8. And then we can check. We have 46 times n equals 368. I'm going to substitute for every occurrence of n, 8. And 46 times 8 is 368. That is a true statement, so I can circle my answer. Next is 44 on page 81. And 44 is 24 equals 24 subtract x I guess it is 24 equals x plus 24. This is number 44. 24 equals x plus 24. We're supposed to solve. So our goal is x equals, in this case, I want to be able to isolate x on one side of the equation all by itself. So here I'm adding 24. Let's do the opposite and subtract 24. If I do that to one side of the equation, I have to do it to the other side of the equation. I'm choosing to add the opposite or to subtract 24 because if I add the opposite of 24, I'll get 0. And x plus 0 is 0, and that's x equals, x is on one side of the equation all by itself. But if I subtract 24 from this side of the equation, I have to do the same thing to this side of the equation. And actually, 24 subtract 24 is 0. So let's check. 24 equals x plus 24. 24 equals, I'm going to substitute 0 for every occurrence of x. 24 equals 24, so I can circle my answer, x equals 0. Number 49. That's 10 times 24 minus 18 plus 2 in parentheses divided by 4 minus in parentheses 9 minus 7. Now I see that I have multiplication and division, addition, subtraction, parentheses, so I need to call upon my precedence of operators. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses have the highest precedence, exponents next, multiplication and division from left to right, and addition and subtraction from left to right. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for parentheses, and sure enough, right there are parentheses. There's another set of parentheses. Within the parentheses, I'm going to still apply m dash. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So here I'm going to add, copy everything else down the same. And 7 from 9 is 2. Be sure to copy everything else down the same and work down your page, not across the page. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. This is a constant. There's nothing more I can do in those parentheses, so it's 20 divided by 4, subtract, and this is the constant 2. Nothing more I can do to simplify, so I can get rid of the parentheses. So I have no more parentheses. There are no exponents, so I can check them off. Now I'm going to do multiplication division from left to right as I come upon it. So first is 10 times 24. 10 times 24 is 240. Copy everything else down the same. $240 minus 20 divided by 4 minus 2. Continuing, I have some division, so I'm going to do division next. 20 divided by 4. Copy everything else down the same. 20 divided by 4. Well, 4 goes into 25 times. Be sure to copy everything else down the same. There's no more multiplication or division. I can check that off, and I'll do addition and subtraction as I come upon it from left to right. So the first thing I do is 240 subtract 5 would be 235. Copy everything else down the same. And now I have subtraction from left to right. 235 subtract 2 would be 233. The simple steps to remember. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Remember your rules of operator precedence. It's imperative. That's how we agree to work on expressions and equations that have multiple operators, and work down the page, not across as you're solving the problem. Number 51. Find the average of 157, 170, and 168. So we have 3 data items, and we're supposed to find the average. Remember that average is a 2-step process. We add the data items first, and then we divide that result by the count of the data items. So I'm going to add first, and then divide by the count, 1, 2, 3. I'm adding first. I make sure you use a parentheses. Otherwise, our rules of precedence, this is not the same problem. Here, division is higher than addition, so we divide first the last data item by 3, and then continue to add. That is incorrect. Our directions say to add first. That's step 1. So we're going to add our data items first, and we need to place them in parentheses to prioritize addition of the 3 data items. We're going to add first and get 495. And now I can divide by the count of the data items, 1, 2, 3. 495 divided by 3 is 165. So the average of the 3 data items, 157, 170, and 168, is 165. 52. Computer purchase. Natasha has $196 and wants to buy a computer for $698. How much more does she need to save? Well, she has $196. She wants to buy a computer for $698. We'll find the difference. She has $196. She needs $698 to buy the computer. What's the difference? 698 subtract what she's saved. She will need $502. $53. Tony has $406 in her checking account. She is paid $78 for a part-time job and deposits that in her checking account. How much is then in her account? Well, she started with a balance of $406, and she's going to add her earnings of $78 from a part-time job, so that's addition. So she had $406, and she's going to add $78 for a total of $484 in her account. $54. On page 81, $54. In 1909, the first Lincoln head pennies were minted. 73 years later, 3 pennies. These pennies were first minted with a decreased copper amount. In what year was the copper content reduced? So in 1909, they were minted. 73 years later, so 1909 plus 73 years. The pennies were then minted with a decreased amount of copper. So 1909 plus 73 years later is 1982. So in the year 1982, pennies were minted with a decreased copper content. And number 55 on page 81. A beverage company packed 228 cans of soda into 12 can cartons. How many cartons were filled? So we have 228 cans, and we're going to package them in a 12 can carton. So how many of these 12 can packages can we package using the 228 cans? So we have 228. We want to divide it into 12 packs. Divided by 12 is 19. So we were able to package the 228 cans into 19 12-pack packages. All right, then I suggest that you study at your e-text, the chapter, in this case, chapter 1, test prep videos. The test prep videos are chapter tests at the end of your chapter on page 83 and 84 in our e-text. And the questions that the author presents on these pages model what I will choose for test questions on your homework and your chapter test for this chapter. So the test prep videos at the end of each chapter become a reference for me when I choose homework and test questions from the massive database at my math lab. So starting up my math lab, with your e-text from the left-hand navigational menu. Use your pagination text box to go to page 83. And this is your chapter test. This models exactly what's in the textbook, page for page, question for question. This is the chapter test prep video, test prep, your chapter test at the end of each chapter. And to review it, back at the main menu, look at multimedia. Well, let's try tools for success. And you'll see the chapter test prep videos. Click on that, and we are working in chapter 1. And you can begin to work any problem in the test is solved by another instructor. So as you're studying those questions in the chapter test, at the end of each chapter in the textbook, a sample is worked out for you in the chapter test prep videos. So again, you are able to study and review with assistance from support at my math lab. So now again, it's time to return to My Math Lab, to D2L Brightspace, your course website, and check for all details regarding homework, assignments, tests, and their due dates as published at D2L Brightspace. And thank you very much.